next. Your next guest just raised his price target on Nvidia, factoring in any increased exports to China. Joining us now to talk more about it is Aaron Rakers. He is senior semiconductor analyst at Wells Fargo. So, Aaron, how do you score it? Would increased sales to China, pardon the phrase, trump the additional 15% payout that they would now have to give to the U.S. government?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thanks for having me on. The short answer is yes. I mean, I think it's better than nothing, right? I mean, if you look at Nvidia, last quarter, I think they reported they shipped 4.6 billion of revenue into China, the H20, prior to the ban in April. They had missed out roughly 2.5 billion. So that's north of 7 billion of revenue in the last quarter. That'd be, call it 13% of total revenue, 17% of the data center revenue for them, if you included that. And they had guided, that they were going to miss revenue opportunity of about 8 billion this quarter. So annualized 30 plus billion of revenue opportunity. I do think it's better than nothing. We tried to factor that into our raised estimates this morning. I think ultimately the key debate is going to be what's the precedent that this sets going forward, and then as you just played the clip, what's the progression to theoretically the B20, the B30 products as we move forward as far as their ability to sell into the China market. That's something they'll have to discuss on the upcoming earnings release on the 27th.
Now let's go back to our previous guest, Aaron Rakers. Aaron, does that semiconductors are a massive part of our trade with China. Do you look at the macro trade and tariff headlines as a part of your single stock analysis, or is it kind of over here and you just work on sort of the sharpening the pencil on the other side?
Yeah, I think we try and look at all of the data points, right? So a lot of our note this morning on Nvidia, we did actually take a look at some of the import-export data that we track and how things have changed around that. So, I think as far as the sales into China, I don't think that news necessarily changes anything from the news that we had heard last night. Obviously, AMD also, fits into this equation. They lost, I think they guided 1.5 billion of revenue opportunity loss from China this year. And so, I think at this point, we're in a quiet period for Nvidia going into their earnings on the 27th. We'll just have to wait to hear. And I think, again, can they recapture that 30 billion? Do we take 85% of that? And then more importantly, what's the growth profile competitively as we think about that China market going into the Blackwell product cycle and even subsequent product cycles from there?